The Dogs, in association with the British Greyhound Racing Board.
Well, a very happy new year to you from everybody here at the Dogs. But first, we're looking back to 2008 in the company of the champion trainer, Mark Wallis.
And away they go, and racing up towards the first bend, and is bumping out of the boxes. Centaur Decree's going to lead up on the outside here from Four Arthur's Joy. Moving up on the inside is Mildine Flash. No luck for Blongini as they head down the far side. It's Centaur Decree with a 3.5 length lead here. Racing up in the second comes Swimmers Dillon, then comes one, Mildine Flash. After these comes Blongini. They come round the final bend, and Centaur Decree has gone about 6 lengths clear. Centaur Decree has won in emphatic style.
Centaur Decree's win here in the Arc at Walthamstow helped Mark Wallis to regain his champion trainer title from Charlie Lister. Being a then Walthamstow trainer, his was a fitting triumph in what was to be the last major competition at the famous venue. The Arc proved the perfect springboard for the year, fulfilling Mark's ambition to become champion trainer again.
Any time where you win the Trainers' Championship, you know, that's our target at the start of the year, and that's what we aim for. You know, and it's been a terrific year for winners.
Yeah, lots of winners, but not that many big race winners, huh?
No, Centaur Decree was our Category 1 winner in the Arc. Fantastic performance from the dog, and you know, that was a night to remember. But you know, we've produced a lot of Category 2 and 3 winners this year, but I think overall our consistency with open races has been phenomenal. You know, we've almost had 7 or 8 winners nearly every week. We've travelled the length and breadth of the country to do it, and it has been a very successful year.
In terms of number of victories, 2008 was a great year for Imperial Kennels, but it didn't start well.
The year didn't start that great when Director's Chair got pipped on the post by Tufty's Paletta in the Prestige final at Hall Green. You know, that we thought, oh no, this is the way our year's going to go. We also had a couple of other finalists beat. Genesis Dream got beat in the Coronation Cup, and we thought January was going to be a bit of a disaster, but February turned everything round. Obviously with Centaur Decree's win, Genesis Dream won the Spring Festival at Monmore, which was a real good race. You know, we was well pleased with that. We also won the Harlow Green King Cup with Stride on Babe, and February turned everything round, and we ended up in February with a healthy lead in the Trainers' Championship, one that we've not relinquished.
So after a shaky start, February was good, and then it was all systems go for the Trainers' Championship meeting.
Yes, that turned out to be a real disaster. You know, we had some, just everything went wrong on the night. It was just one of those nights. You know, Centaur Decree got injured, Butterbridge Alley got injured, Director's Chair got injured. We had a couple of good performances, but overall it was a disaster.
But you had to shake yourself down and back to Wimbledon for the Derby.
It was. We picked ourselves up pretty quick after that. I think Aero Blackjack won a couple of competitions at Walthamstow, and then going into the Derby, I didn't feel like we had a dog capable of winning, but 2 or 3 that might go well at long odds, you know, and that proved the case. Commander Chief and Shawnee's Lad were awesome all the way through it, and I thought in the end for the second year running we finished 4th in a semi-final, you know, so it was pretty gutting not to have a Derby finalist, but I'm sure it'll come one day, you know. I mean, ultimately we lost Commander Chief and Shawnee's Lad because they were both sold on, probably because we did so well with them, you know, so, you know, but I think there'll be you know, another year where we can do well, and hopefully one day Imperial Kennels can have a Derby winner.
And they race away from the gate then, and on the outside Romeo Turbo sits just in behind Ronnie's Hustle. It's getting very tight there. Law Honcho trying to get through. Shawnee's Lad down the inside squeezing on. Shawnee's Lad by 2 lengths now from Loyal Honcho. Around the outside Kilkenny Longjack trying to pick up. Shawnee's Lad by 3 lengths as they drive down towards home from Loyal Honcho in second place. On the outside Kilkenny Longjack, and then Romeo Turbo's trying to get a pitch. They're down the straight. Shawnee's Lad by 1.5 lengths from Kilkenny Longjack. Shawnee's Lad's got home.
It was during the Derby when news broke that Walthamstow was to close, forcing a different plan of attack for winners.
from difficult circumstances with Walthamstow closing and everything, we got our head down. We seem to travel even further. You know, some of the A1, S1 type Walthamstow dogs that would be running regularly there. We picked some races, and I think, you know, we chose some good races, and we won loads and loads of opens here, there, and everywhere. You know.
This new year promises to be every bit as successful as the previous one. Mark and his team will make sure of that. And there are high hopes of this British-bred litter, led by impressive Wimbledon scorer Mountjoy Ruby and Mountjoy Gold here.
But now it's our turn to spotlight who we believe will be the stars of 2009. Beginning with the sprinters, and the Lorraine Sams trained Frosty Lee has made a big impact at Coventry and Nottingham. He's lightly raced, having won 7 from his 13 starts, and has recorded some rapid times.
And Frosty Lee very wide on the track, leading here from Emma's Prince in second. After these comes Moatview Storm up towards the winning line at 6. Frosty Lee here by a length will win.
Glenroe Ginger, trained by Barry Draper, also had a light campaign in 2008. He went on to win 4 of his 8 starts, including a new track record at Sheffield over 280 metres. So those are our 2 sprinters for 2009. Expect Flying Winner to be the dominant force in marathon races again. She romped home in the TV trophy and broke track records at Doncaster, Newcastle and Nottingham.
But the roar's gone up for Flying Winner. The crowd know, you know, everyone knows that Flying Winner's just hit the front at the second last bend and gone really clear here from a classy field. It's Flying Winner going to win this so easily in the end by a good 8-10 lengths, increasing the lead all the time.
Barnfield Brook, runner-up in the 2008 Coventry St Ledger, ended the year on a high with marathon wins at Bellevue and Wimbledon. Trainer Paul Philpott will be hoping to improve on an excellent 2008. So our 2 marathon runners are Flying Winner and Barnfield Brook.
So to Walthamstow and the news that shook the sport. It was lights out for that famous neon sign, but not before a spirited campaign to keep the stadium open grabbed huge headlines for greyhound racing. That campaign is still going, but Mark will never forget what he and others went through during that time.
At the start of the year, we never envisaged Walthamstow closing. We'd been given certain guarantees that the track was going to stay open. I'd actually built my kennel all around that. You know, we are essentially a contract kennel, and supplying 50 or 60 runners to Walthamstow. You know, when the news came that it was going to close within a few months, it was a real shock. You know, something that we've had to pick ourselves up from. I feel we've done it well. We've had the Trainers' Championship to focus on, and that's kept us going really. But you know, definitely, you know, times have been hard since then.
Obviously, Harlow offered you a home, which was gratefully accepted, but you've still had to make the most of what you've got, haven't you, really?
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's Harlow's, you know, going through a lot of changes at the moment, and hopefully Dave and Chris can get everything sorted out and bring it up to the standards that are required, especially for essentially, like I said, a contract kennel like ourselves. You know, we have always built ourselves round having sort of 40, 50, 60 graded dogs, and then the open racing has always been the cream on the top. You know, so something that we've mixed really well over the last 10 years.
Now, were you tempted, as some people suggested you should, as to just turn into an open kennel, have 20 or 30 top quality dogs?
It's tempting, you know, but one of the main factors in that is, you know, I've got 4 lads here who've worked for me for 6 years now. You know, I think if you was open race only, the figures just don't add up. You know, it's very, very difficult to make it pay, and I think you know, certain trainers have got businesses or certain things that can back them up financially. Here we're essentially a greyhound kennel that relies on its kennel bills, on its owners, and you know, just to basically pay the wages. You know, so it has been difficult, but we've got our heads down, and we're hopefully, you know, can look forward to a bright future.
So what do you think 2009 will hold for Imperial Kennels?
Well, we're definitely going to concentrate a bit more on quality than quantity. We're going to have to, like, you know, we're going to have a real serious attempt to win some more major prizes in the sport. You know, I think we've got a nice mixture of dogs here, of young and old ones, and some potential dogs that can definitely compete in Category 1s and hopefully go a couple of steps better than last year and win a few more.
Are you actively seeking a contract with a big track?
I think for this kennel to survive overall, we're definitely going to need a big contract. You know, we've got to hope that something turns up in the next year. But you know, there's something that's out of our hands at the moment. We'll carry on and do the best we can. Hopefully, keep the quality going that everybody knows Imperial Kennels for.
And surely some track out there must want the champion trainer.
Location-wise, we're out in Suffolk, which we love it out here, and it's a good position to get to all the open race tracks and everything. But from a contract point of view, there's nothing in the vicinity. You know, as I say, we're hoping Harlow goes through with all its ambitious plans. You know, plans that could help a kennel like ours. And if that turns out, then I'm sure we'll survive and we'll thrive over the next few years. It's always been my ambition to be at the top. Or very close to the top. We've now had 10 consecutive years in the top 6, and that's something I'd like to keep going.
You still enjoying it?
I am. I still look forward to getting up in the morning, and I can't wait to get here in the kennels. And you know, while I've still got that ambition and that drive, you know, my staff are right behind me. Obviously, my wife is a big part of everything that we do here behind the scenes. And you know, we've all got burning ambitions to do well, and we still love greyhound racing, and this is what we all want to do.
And what, dare I ask, what the biggest ambition may be?
Well, obviously, you know, we would love to win a derby. You know, I've still got plans. Hopefully, we can get that dog that can go across the water as well and compete in some of their major prizes. There's still a lot of things we haven't achieved here. You know, there's some competitions that we haven't won that I've got a burning desire to win. The Oaks being one of them, the St Leger being another one. You know, you just need the right dogs at the right time sometimes. You know, and if they come along, I'm sure our kennel's capable of producing big race wins. You know, ultimately, I definitely want to be at the top in the top 2 or 3 trainers for the next 10 years. If we're not there, then that would be something that would make me perhaps decide on another career elsewhere.
More from Mark Wallis, champion trainer, later in the programme.
As for the hurdlers, Nebuchadnezzar, who showed good early pace on the flat, is being prepared by Lorraine Sams for a Springbok campaign. And Jason Foster, who knows a thing or two about hurdlers, has Ballymac Mondo, who has got winning form over in Ireland and should be one to follow over the sticks during the summer months.
Coming up after the break, Mark Wallis gives us his thoughts on the sport's future.
Romeo Maldini, trained by David Firmager, was stepped up in distance for the last few weeks of 2008 and looked ultra impressive over 6 bends at Hall Green and Wimbledon.
So one Troopis Nelson leading here by a length from 6, Romeo Maldini taking it on. After he's a gap back to Pig Owl Lady and also on the outside of that Butterbridge Alley. And Romeo Maldini has hit the front and it's torn past Troopis Nelson as though it was standing still. And Romeo Maldini has gone 7 lengths clear. Romeo Maldini is making me eat my words. What a performance. Romeo Maldini by 8 lengths from Hawk's Dilemma up into second. As they come round the final bend, it's getting a little bit tired now, but that was sensational. Romeo Maldini wins by a good 4.5 lengths.
Droopy's Curbs, trained by Dean Childs, was always there or thereabouts in 2008. He looked a little unlucky in the Coventry St Leger final, and the trainer remains confident there's a big prize around the corner. Watch out for Droopy's Curbs and Romeo Maldini.
Walthamstow earlier this year. Huge crowds, especially in the lead up to its final meeting in August. And Walthamstow now. The machinery has rolled in, but not to redevelop, instead to erect a huge marquee for a religious occasion around Christmas time. But memories great memories are still fresh with Mark.
It was just incredible, you know, the scenes there, the vast crowds the 2 or 3 weeks before was something that I've never seen myself in ground racing. You know, I think a couple of weeks before on a Tuesday night there was 3,000 or 4,000 people there. You know, just unbelievable. You know, and then that last night was just incredible. You know, the stadium was packed to the rafters. You know, the atmosphere was incredible. You know. I was desperately wanted to win that last race. A minute before the hare come round, the crowd was, you know, it made the back of your hair stand up, you know. And when the traps opened and our little bitch flew round, you know, absolutely bolted out and led all the way, it was an incredible feeling, you know. But the scenes afterwards, you know, just standing in the middle there and watching all the crowds pour onto the track and everything was something that would live long in the memory, but obviously a sad night as well, you know. Obviously Butterbridge Alley breaking the track record on the night, you know, something that will never be beaten, you know. We do hope that eventually we may see Walthamstow come back, but obviously that's something that's out of our hands, you know, and I do feel the sport needs a showpiece track, you know. It's like rugby without Twickenham, football without Wembley. I know it's all been said before, but ground racing north, you know, in London or in the Walthamstow area needs a showpiece track, you know, something that our sport can be proud of, something where we can showcase all our best races. And, you know, Walthamstow did that, you know, and now it seems that we haven't got one.
Now, geographically it might not be best for you, but Wimbledon is still there. Wimbledon's the home of the Derby. It needs a revamp, but surely that's a good place to start.
I think that's, you know, got its own problems there. You know, the rumours around there are terrible, you know. It seems it's all doom and gloom. I'm sure the economic climate is difficult for everybody, you know, and the GRA and Wimbledon seem like it's a target for everybody's where the finger's pointed at, you know. But you know, it does house our big races. The Derby, the St Leger, the Oaks are all at Wimbledon, you know. If Wimbledon doesn't survive, once again, it's essential to get another track somewhere, you know, and somewhere where we can have all these big races, you know, and hopefully that's where we should be thinking.
Mark, the GBGB have taken over the running of our sport as of from yesterday. Are you pessimistic about the short term or optimistic about the long term? How do you see the future of the sport?
Short term, it is going to be difficult, but if we can set out with a decent long-term strategy, I reckon ground racing, marketed in the right way, is still one of the best sports that is around at the moment. You know, it gives a lot of people a lot of pleasure. You know, we can see it in our owners' eyes when our dogs win races and everything. That there's a real market for ground racing. You know, and the vast crowds on the last few nights at Walthamstow prove that publicity, good or bad, can produce big crowds. You know, top class racing, good racing, quality racing, you know, the crowds will come, you know. And if a track's got good facilities and, you know, can market it properly, you know, those people will come back again, you know. So yes, slightly pessimistic for the short term, but long term, you know, hopefully there's something good can come out of what's happening at the moment. For our kennel, yeah, I think we'll be fine. I think you know, we've got some good loyal owners, we've got good staff, and we've got a burning ambition to do well. And while we've got that, then we'll carry on. But if it gets to the point where we can't financially continue, then obviously that would be something that Imperial Kennels will have to certainly think about.
We've talked to you, Mark, in the past, and to many other trainers. They've bemoaned the lack of prize money or the low level of prize money. Is that an area you'd like to see increase? And if it is increased, how will it help get more people through the gate?
I think the lack of prize money at the moment certainly deters current owners. It means we're losing, you know, owners in large quantities. You know, the training fees for dogs are going up. The prize money seems to be going down. The two just don't work out, you know. So somewhere there needs to be an answer to that problem. You know, the top class racing, the open racing, the top prizes, although they've been a bit stagnant, you know, still offer a decent chance but it's only the elite few that get a chance to run for those prize money, and it costs quite a lot of money if you've got an open racer that's not quite there at the top. You know, there's a lot of travel expenses and everywhere, so it's only the very top grounds that benefit from that top money. Maybe it should be spread a little bit more evenly through the field or something.
So many of the promoters think that the answer to getting people through the gates is to offer them cheap meals or a good restaurant at least to eat their meals in, but maybe it's getting more owners in sport as well, get people through the door.
Yes, definitely. You know, I mean, from our kennel point of view, we're always trying to seek out new owners, and once we've got them, trying to keep them. You know, but sometimes I don't feel that's replicated back at the tracks. You know, it seems like they're forever moaning about paying for getting in, and all of the, you know, like I said before, you know, they don't seem to want to keep them there. You know, it seems like the owners are always got the wrong end of the deal. You know, so I think, you know, we must try and keep these owners in. You know, they bring other people into the track each time, and you know, that's what's the lifeblood of the sport. You know, without the owners, there would be no greyhound racing.
A marvellous campaign in 2008 for Berherne Best. He has excellent early pace and is staying better and looks suited to Wimbledon.
And at the moment, Berherne Best is getting inside track 3, Farley Magic to go on. Berherne Best leading here off the final turn, Centre Marine, and after these comes Farley Magic, but it's Berherne Best that wins the Betfred Laurels.
Young and up-and-coming trainer Matt Dartnell will be hoping for great things from Ballymac Russo in 2009, an Irish Derby finalist who broke the track record at Monmore. Fears of Phonic should be a real money spinner for Charlie Lister. Winner of the Graphite Puppy Derby at Walthamstow, he recorded an astonishing 27.17 in the trial at Wimbledon. Deanridge Fury, winner of the Manchester Puppy Cup, showed plenty of guts and determination to come from off the pace to win at Wimbledon just before Christmas. All 4 will be aimed at the Derby, but expect the wraps to come off around March for these 4 explosive types.
Early open race action this year sees Sheffield Stage Opens on Saturday, Coventry on Sunday. On Monday it's the Coronation Cup heats at Romford. There's also action at Nottingham. While Tuesday it's the semi-finals of the Bet Direct Prestige at Hall Green. For all the results and local track information, see thedogs.co.uk. Next week we'll preview the Bet Direct Prestige final at Hall Green, the first live Sky action of 2009.
The Dogs, in association with the British Greyhound Racing Board.